You're listening to the Conscious Her podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about why being an energetically sensitive person in 2021 is not a punishment, burden, or penalty from the universe, but rather a divine mission full of incredible purpose, meaning, transformation, and more that, when realized, has the power to create long-lasting change here on Earth and in our own communities. Most importantly, I believe it is a form of divine intelligence that transcends beyond Earth. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kimberly Morrow, and you're listening to the Conscious Her podcast. The Conscious Her is an accessible online platform and community of conscious women that are empaths, highly sensitive people, and intuitives who are both curious and passionate about spiritual and energetic self-development. As a professional psychic medium, spiritual guide and mentor, intuitive energy healer, and channel for over 5 years now, I dedicate my life to reconnecting energetically sensitive women to the divine within themselves so that they can live the most fulfilling, rewarding, and transformational life possible by remembering who they are and why they're here. If you're looking to learn how to leverage and apply your incredible energetic gifts in your personal and professional life and utilize your intuition and sensitivity as your personal superpowers, this podcast is for you. So let's dive into today's discussion right now. Hey, beautiful light being, and once again, welcome to the Conscious Her podcast. This is the very first episode. How exciting is that? I'm your host, Kimberly Morrow, and you can call me Kim for short. I'm your modern day psychic medium, spiritual guide and mentor, intuitive energy healer, a spiritual channel, and of course, the creator of The Conscious Her. Before we get into today's topic, I want to tell you a little bit more about me and what I do. So basically, I help burnt out, misunderstood, and isolated women who are empaths, highly sensitive people, and intuitives, whom I collectively call quote unquote highly sensitive souls, learn spiritual and energetic self-development and protection techniques through the power of spiritual mentoring and an integrative, connected community. I do this to help others learn to leverage and apply their energetic gifts in their personal and professional life and utilize their intuition and sensitivity as their very own personal superpowers. My greatest gift in this life is to use the power of mediumship, or the gift of mediumship, to authentically connect with higher realms of consciousness in order to provide their loving, supportive, and life-changing guidance to others. Through this ability, I reconnect energetically sensitive women to the divine within themselves, so that they can not only live the most fulfilling, rewarding, and transformational life possible, but also remember who they are, their authentic self, and why they're here or what they came here to do. The knowledge and wisdom that I share in this podcast is what I have gained over the past 10 years of my life and on my own spiritual journey. From groundbreaking spiritual awakenings to guidance channeled directly from the spirit realm and readings for clients, I've gained a profound amount of valuable insight in a relatively short amount of time that I feel compelled to share with others so that they too can prosper on their own spiritual path and healing journey. At the same time, I'm also actively building a supportive and inspiring community of like-minded women through the Conscious Her that together collectively assist in, I'd say, nurturing this spiritual journey for one another, which often feels impossible for one to conquer on her own. The Conscious Her was created for you, the highly sensitive soul, or whom I presume is listening to this podcast, or I'd like to call them also the energetically sensitive women. to help you reach your greatest, most fulfilled, reassured, and confident spiritual self, all while embracing yourself exactly as you are, your most authentic, truthful self. So if you're looking for an inspired and elevated sense of freedom, of trust, of connection, of authenticity, of clarity, and of empowerment in yourself as an energetically sensitive person, I am here to help you reawaken that energy within you. It's my absolute honor to welcome you to the Conscious Her podcast. So you might be wondering, what type of things are we going to be talking about here on the Conscious Her podcast? The Conscious Her podcast focuses on all things spirituality, energy, and intuition, but from the perspective of a highly sensitive soul looking to further her own spiritual self-development. So the main topics we'll be getting into with the Conscious Her podcast include, but are not limited to, definitely not limited to, first of all, better understanding yourself as a highly sensitive soul. In other words, an empath, a highly sensitive person, or an intuitive, and embracing yourself as one, right? That's huge. Secondly, gaining tools, tips, and techniques to manage and protect yourself and your energy as a highly sensitive soul. All the woo you could possibly want, and discussing intuitive gifts and abilities, including psychic senses and gifts. Connecting deeply with your spirituality, the spirit realm, and working with your spirit guides or your spirit team. Theory and discussion around our multi-dimensional universe and our place in it, your soul purpose, your higher callings, and reaching your greatest potential. And finally, energy, frequency, and vibration in the universe and how we relate to it as spiritual, cosmic beings in this human form. And I'll tell you, Tesla would love this stuff, right? So that's an overview of basically all the types of things that we'd be talking about, all the different topics we'd be talking about. And I think that you're really going to love it. I really think that this is going to be something that you'll really be able to relate to that you won't really find anywhere else. I want to get into today's topic, which is what it really means to be an energetically sensitive person in 2021 and beyond, or I should say the 21st century. I want to start you out with a quote by Nikola Tesla, and it goes, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." So aside from the ancient cultures who fully understood this, there is no other time in modern history that we have become so aware of energy, frequency, and vibration, and how that not only affects us as individuals, but also as a global consciousness here on Earth. It is absolutely undeniable that we are currently experiencing an expansion of awareness and reawakenings of ourselves here as human beings at this time on Earth, and how that ripples out into our world. This is a fundamental time in modern history where we acknowledge that there are greater forces at play that are all expressed to us through heightened avenues like world events, political uprisings and revolutions, astrology and planetary movements and influences, a global turn to mindfulness and spirituality, an increasing acknowledgement of universal laws, and an ongoing fight to change where we have become broken and misaligned with our universal truths. We are more socially conscious than ever before and willing to stand up for what is right, even when it is difficult. There is even a lot of speculation that we are entering into the age of Aquarius, which is an astrological term and phenomenon. So, like vast tectonic plates shifting deep within the collective unconscious, this epical transition has already begun manifesting as a series of seismic changes throughout our world as the forms of an older age, the age of Pisces, make way for those of a radically new one, which is the age of Aquarius. There is a light shining down on our planet that is asking us to reawaken and to choose a different way, to change, to heal, to mend, to do things differently than we have been. There's a lot of discussion in the New Age community around dimensions and how we are moving from 3D, the third dimension, this earthy physical dimension, to 5D, this very spiritual dimension, and that this is taking place as we speak. Many people have written about 5D, the fifth dimension, and many people who are channels for higher consciousness have received information like this about ascension symptoms. You may even be feeling all of those funky ascension symptoms right now, and I sure as heck agree with that. I am feeling it. So in my experience in 2020, while the COVID-19 pandemic was really kind of getting going and firing up around the world, I was guided by my own spirit team to do live channeling sessions for my audience over Instagram every Friday morning throughout the spring, after I had asked what I could do personally to help others in my community, to help ease the stress and anxiety of the pandemic. On the very first live stream, the very first one I did, my spirit guides began to discuss, and this is what I channeled from them, how we are being upgraded at a cellular level, so a cellular energetic level, in order for us to be able to receive upgrades, they called it upgrades, and to be able to raise our consciousness on a global level and transcend, drumroll please, to higher dimensions, i.e. 5D. But we need to be able to rest properly and be in this resting state. This is the first time I had heard anything like this ever before. I did not even know that was possible. That was all coming up in the last year or so. So this is really new for me as well to hear about all of this, especially about, this 3D versus 5D phenomenon and what that looks like and what's happening within that. Then recently, I'd also learned about a woman named Dolores Cannon. So you may have heard of Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon was a world-renowned author, speaker, hypnotherapist, and past life regressionist. And she is probably one of the most interesting people I have ever listened to within the realm of spirituality and metaphysics. Dolores has a book called The 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. In this book, she also discusses how we are moving into a new world and a new dimension. So the 5D world could also be known as like the new world. And in this book, she talks about how there are people who have been incarnating on Earth for the last 60 years or so who have come here, okay, as volunteers. So 3 waves of volunteers. So who have all come here to change the energy of the earth to avoid catastrophe, and B, to help raise the energy and vibration of the people so that they can ascend to the next dimension, i.e. 5D. So, as you can see, there is a lot going on right now, but I needed to set that stage for you, and I'm sure you have been exposed to these types of topics and discussions already because they are widespread. It's happening everywhere. The conversations are happening everywhere. And I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I do know that in our Western society, it is becoming prevalent. It's becoming more popular. It's becoming more of an acceptable topic of discussion, okay? I needed to set that stage for you because here's where I bring it all back together, okay, to today's topic, because I believe that if you are an energetically sensitive person or a highly sensitive soul, you feel the changes happening not only within yourself right now, but you'll also feel them throughout the world to a varying degree. You will pick up on this collective change, this collective shift. So I wholeheartedly believe that you are not a highly sensitive soul at random and without purpose. Like Dolores Cannon discusses, I believe that as a highly sensitive soul, you were given this gift and these abilities. Even if you don't fully understand all of them yet, that's okay. Because you came here to be a warrior spirit for a new world, a better world, a fifth dimension. You came here to be a beacon of light and to leverage and apply yourself with a core knowledge and understanding of energy, frequency, and vibration. You came here to reawaken. You came here to remember. You came here to apply yourself. You are, I believe, one of these volunteers. Because these types of people, these types of people like you and I, these highly sensitive souls, these energetically sensitive people, they have not always been here, okay? They have not always been here. It's only been in the past, I would say, 60 years, 60 to 100 years that this has been happening. But there's a problem. The problem with all of this is that not only have you completely forgotten about all of that, you've been beaten, bruised, and molded, metaphorically speaking, into this shape and form of a human being, this foreign thing, this human being, and challenged to live on this earth in ways that do not make sense to you and that does not fundamentally work for you. You may find that a lot of people around you, they just don't get you. They just don't get you. And I'm willing to bet that for most of your life, you have felt this way. From a very young age, you've been conditioned, you've been pressured, you've been indoctrinated to be someone and something you're not, to abandon who you truly are, and to try and fit into this notion of being a human being and going along with a human life that substitutes meaning, purpose, and ascension for materialism, negativity, ego development. Everything has been decided for you once you're here. And once you're here, you begin melting into that melting pot. And I can't say this is the exact experience for every single highly sensitive soul, but I believe that it will be the experience for about 95% of us, okay? So, what I want you to know is that you are an exceptionally high vibrational being who is trying to live in an inherently low vibrational world that is exhausting, confusing, and isolating in more ways than one. As you become more and more human, you're left with an emptiness, a void, an unshakable unhappiness. Even when you are doing everything the way you thought you were supposed to, Yet in your heart, you know there is something more for you. You know there is something off, okay? And I'm not saying that everybody who isn't a highly sensitive soul can't find happiness and meaning and joy and purpose. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that as a highly sensitive soul, you are inherently different than those that are not. And because of this, you are likely to experience this unshakable unhappiness and this emptiness and this void because you know you are meant to do more. You're not satisfied with what other people are satisfied with and that works for them. You're just not. So to me, this is absolutely tragic. And not only is this an outline of my life and how I've experienced my life, but it's the outline of lives for people, particularly women, that I have worked with for years. For the people who are highly sensitive souls or energetically sensitive, you have likely been brought up into a culture or a setting that just does not and still may not understand you. The world, particularly the Western world, okay, is not made, bold and underlined, not made for highly sensitive souls, nor does it support them very well or in the way that they need to be supported. What gives you power? What gives you peace? What gives you influence, inspiration, and joy as an energetically sensitive person is what is considered many, many times to others as questionable, weird, woo-woo, weak, even bad, or maybe even evil has been thrown at you. When you come to Earth, many, many things in life feel completely and inherently backwards to you. And it is very difficult to navigate. You'll see as I discuss this, the difference between if you want to go to and relate back to astrology, the age of Pisces, which is the age before us, and the age of Aquarius. And if you look at the characteristics of Aquarius, you're going to see more of what I mean. And that could be a discussion for another day, but you're going to see what I mean here. However, humanity now, with this age of Aquarius, is slowly beginning to wake up to its divine consciousness. And with this, we are seeing many, many more energetically sensitive souls incarnate here on Earth. But we still lack sufficient education, understanding, and research about what it means to be energetically sensitive. As highly sensitive souls, we interact with the world and interpret the world very differently than those who are not energetically sensitive. With a culture in the Western world, with a culture and a society that does not understand and that flags sensitivity as a weakness, we have been conditioned to feel disempowered, lost, and victims of our sensitivities. I have spent most of my life figuring this out. And once I figured it out for myself and realized I wasn't the only one, because as a highly sensitive soul, chances are for a lot of your life you felt lonely in some regard, like you were very, very different, no one got you. So once I realized I wasn't the only person like this, I went out and developed my energetic gifts and abilities as an energetically sensitive person and a highly sensitive soul. And then later discovered that my purpose here was not only to remember who I was authentically, who I was in my truth, who I was at my core, but to also help reconnect, keyword, reconnect others with the divine within them. who they truly were, their most authentic self. And then why they came here and what work they are to do. To reconnect them with their meaning and their purposes, and to help facilitate their growth and ascension. Being an energetically sensitive person in 2021, it's not a punishment. It's not a burden. It's not a penalty from the universe. Many of us grow up feeling that way. But I want you to try this on. Try on this perspective. Being an energetically sensitive person in 2021 is not a punishment, it's not a burden, it's not a penalty from the universe. It's a divine mission of challenges, hardships, and obstacles, but it's also one of incredible purpose, meaning, transformation. It is one that warrior spirits take because they have the power to create long-lasting change on Earth and in their own communities. Most importantly, I believe it's a form of divine intelligence that transcends beyond Earth, beyond the earthly form. We are in a period of time now where it's all finally starting to make sense. We're in this new age of Aquarius, and where we are gaining an understanding of who we actually are beyond our human selves. We're expanding out of that, and we're finding more support and I'd say greater widespread knowledge around energy, frequency, and vibration. And we're waking up to our spiritual selves that's not bound to organized religion like it was in the age of Pisces, but to a force and intelligence much greater than us, much greater than ourselves. We are connecting to different realms and dimensions for answers and support, especially those of us who are energetically sensitive. So because this is all the beginning of this great reawakening, we need guidance, we need assistance, we need belonging, we need help. And there are many people like myself who are stepping into those roles of leadership for the energetically sensitive people around the world so that they can do what they came here to do and embrace themselves exactly for who they are. They are now being recognized as change makers. They are now being recognized as people who make incredible ripple effects in the world. Just by being exactly who they are, the more that they step into their authentic selves, the brighter their light shines. Now, I understand this all sounds intense and super heavy duty, and I do apologize because I am a Scorpio sun and Scorpio rising, but I also want you to know that this podcast is also about supporting you as a highly sensitive soul and simply understanding you for who you are, for just getting you. And because of that, we cover a wide range of topics that are interesting and fun and lighthearted for sure for you specifically, that you may or not be able to discuss and explore with people in your kind of regular network, your family, your circle, your maybe even culture, so on and so forth. So I want to give you that sense of belonging, of understanding, of acceptance, of appreciation, all of the things that you may not be that may not be as readily available to you as you would like. Basically, I want to tell you, I see you, I hear you, I get you, and I'm here for you. So, what does it mean to be an energetically sensitive person in 2021 or the 21st century? It means that you came here to make a positive impact, to create change, to be of influence, to raise the vibration of the planet and the people around you, and to lead the world to a better place. So, with this podcast, I am going to change the way that you look at things. I'm going to support you. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to really help you embrace exactly who you are and help you find your way and make things less confusing. So you may be asking, I'm following along with this podcast. How do I measure results? How do I know if things are happening for me? So I want to tell you all of the types of things that you can measure results with this podcast. Okay, so when you're able to approach your own life through a radically different lens, and it propels your life into a positive new direction, when you're able to open up your awareness, think expansively, get curious, ask questions, when you're connecting more deeply in your intuition, your unique gifts and abilities, and most importantly, your sensitivity, and viewing it now as a gift rather than a burden to carry, when you begin to experience life differently through the activation of purpose, of intention, of faith, of belief, when you start taking your energetic well-being seriously through the physical, mental, emotional, and sensory facets of self and applying yourself with the knowledge you've gained, when you begin to embark on a deeper discovery and uncovering of your own authentic self as a highly sensitive soul, and you reconnect with your own divinity, when you're able to take aligned action and apply yourself to become the very best version of yourself so that you can reconnect with your callings and then actually live them out. When you're able to use all of the information, wisdom, and insight you've learned through me, through the Conscious Her and the Conscious Her podcast, and then turn it around and use that to help others and become an even brighter beacon of light in this world. That is what it's all about. It's about inner change. It's about inner growth. It's about inner discovery. It's about using your unique abilities, gifts, your intuition, your sensitivity, and helping others and making the world a better place. It's about a ripple effect. And that is why I do this, because that is what I believe. So what happens when you subscribe? What happens when you subscribe to the Conscious Her? So you'll receive notifications about all upcoming episodes released every Thursday starting today. You will receive updates, announcements, and special offers with the Conscious Her. You'll get my top 3 everyday energetic protection techniques absolutely free. Every empath, highly sensitive person, and intuitive woman needs a daily routine to maintain her energetic well-being. And these are my kind of top 3 techniques that I like to teach. So you'll get those for free in a PDF form. You will also get notified when I launch the Ultimate Spirit Guide Communication course, which is my signature program, as well as 2 new courses coming out this year and how to sign up for them. You'll also receive my weekly channeled messages, which are a 10-minute, usually around 10 minutes, a channeled message from the spirit realm to my community that I share via video every Monday on my Instagram page. I also type that up. So I type up the whole message and then send it to your email in case you miss it. So those are all kind of the top 5 things that happen when you subscribe to the Conscious Her through the website. So make sure that when you get the chance, you head over to www.theconsciousher.com and sign up for the mailing list so that you don't miss anything and that you're always notified when new podcast episodes come out. There you have it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed learning today about what it means to be an energetically sensitive person in 2021. I wanted to definitely set the stage for what all of this means, what's happening in the world, and to really acknowledge you for who you are and know that it only gets better from here. Things are changing, new energies are entering, we're coming into a new age of spirituality. I call it the new paradigm of light. You may have heard that before. So welcome to this new paradigm of light, this new age of Aquarius. This is a very exciting time to be alive. It's a historically significant time happening here on Earth, and it is a wonderful time to step into your power as an energetically sensitive person. And I cannot wait to continue bringing you more episodes on this topic and supporting you now. Next week's topic is unmasking the woman behind the conscious her, aka me. So if you're interested in getting to know me a little bit more and my story and why I created this podcast, this one's for you. So stay tuned for next week. Until then, have a great day and take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode and for listening to the Conscious Her podcast. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here and a part of our community. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe and share it on your social media channels with your spiritual soul sisters, friends, family, and network. Chances are, if this resonated with you, it will for them too. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm here to help. You can email me at hello@theconsciousher.com, and I may even use your question or topic of discussion for a future podcast episode. If you want daily support for your highly sensitive soul, please visit me over on Instagram at @theconsciousher. If you're interested in working with me, visit www.theconsciousher.com and be sure to subscribe to my mailing list. Finally, I do have a personal request. I believe that our purpose here is to heal ourselves and to serve others, and together you and I can help more people. If you would please leave a positive review for this podcast on iTunes, I'd be so eternally grateful for your support. Thank you and have a great day.